Well, hello to everybody joining us today. It's time for us to finally give you all a little sneak peek of a few things. Also, for us to get our last real major test out before qualifiers start. It's me, Uki, today, joined with IBA. So the two of us are not actually running the seed. We have two other TOs that have lovingly volunteered. Well, maybe not volunteered, maybe we're voluntold. Who knows? That are running the seed. We have one Khaled and the other is Dark. But IBA, as the co-designer on this settings, welcome in.
It's good to be here. Excited for, unveiling, well, not necessarily unveiling, but giving people kind of a look into how Path kind of operates and kind of hopefully give folks an understanding of, like, hopefully how to try to approach Path, especially if you're not too familiar with it. And yeah, it's gonna be great. Got two awesome veteran runners here doing it.
Yeah, and let's go ahead.
It'll be a great time.
Let's go ahead and cut over, and we'll see. They've already got the seed. As you can see, here's our lovely layout for our 1v1 format, specifically for the Path format. I'm loving the fact that we get to introduce these now, or introduce this now. So for those of you who may not have been involved with League 2024, where Path was a big part of the settings, League 2024 had a visual way of representing everything. So we can actually pull up, or during the race, we as the commentators can give you guys all the public knowledge on potential locations for where these proofs are. Won't give you the exact locations because we're not looking at spoilers or anything. We're only going to do it based on the tracker information we have for both runners.
Yep, and as y'all could kind of see with me tinkering around here just to show y'all what you're going to be kind of seeing, there's going to be little marks popping up on our little tracker down here of where stuff is being hinted towards and stuff that either has the proof or doesn't have the proof, so on and so forth, as we are going through.
Yep, absolutely. And now let's talk about why we chose Path. I feel like Path is going to be one of those settings that, while it may not directly be involved in a lot of tourneys or all the tourneys going forward, it is definitely one of them that is very skill intensive. It is one that definitely allows the veteran runners to shine. So we want to get you into these settings as a beginner if you're playing in boot camp, and get you understanding the methodology of the Path hints, because they are by far the most difficult hint system that we have in this community.
Yeah, this one is more revolved around obviously your skill set for clearing content, but also being able to actively read your tracker and be able to piece together where your proofs end up being at.
Yep. And I'm gonna go ahead and let the guys know. Alright, so we're gonna get underway here in just about a minute. I wanted to give the two just one more chance to kind of relax up and prep, because like I said, kind of sprung this on them yesterday that we were gonna do this. or was it the day before? One of the two. But I definitely wanted to go doing this with this type of layout. I want it to bring a very competitive spirit. Same time, Dark and Khaled are both going to run this on beginner because that's the way these settings are intended. So we're going to get the full beginner experience out of 2 veteran runners who happen to be 2 of our other TOs in this major event in tourney series. So at this point, this is going to be interesting. Let's talk about one thing: prog points. We see them in settings too. Some we're seeing them here again here. You want to explain the importance of that, IBA, as we get underway?
Yeah, so the importance, kind of much like with Event 2, the prog points. The way that it's going to work is as you obtain your prog points and hit the threshold, so your first threshold here is 3 progression points. You're going to get a hint in one of the locations on your tracker, and it's going to read, it could read one of four different things. Well, 5 things really. Well, actually, way more, but regardless, there could be a situation where you'll see like a don't enter sign, which is basically that world has items that are contained within there that will not lead you to a proof. Or you'll see icons of the following proof symbols within a world, and they can be singular. Example would be like if levels pops up and it says it has path to connection, then whatever's on Sora's heart for levels contains items that can lead you to connection, and so on and so forth. And your board will continue to light up, and as we get further in with hints, there will be more hints that get shown at a time, just to kind of try to hopefully help get you to your answer a little bit quicker as you continue to play on in the seed, if you haven't gotten there already.
Yeah, that's definitely going to be
the other thing to note for this settings, actually, real quick, is we do have random movement, up to 5 random movement. So the seed was rolled with starting glide 2, no aerial dodge, so no acceleration, all speed. It had a dodge roll, quick run, and a high jump. And as we see from Khaled, glide 3, so we're really top speeding, but no acceleration.
Yep. But yeah, so the reason for the 5 random movement in settings 3 here, one thing that we tend to note with a lot of beginners in the community, because a lot of tournaments use level 1, level 2 movement, we tend to see beginners purely rely on aerial dodge and glide for their movement. We want there to be a little bit more variety to understand. Pay attention to your movement, your movement levels, so that you. Oh my God, Khaled's got glide floor already. But pay attention to your movement, because then you will. Dark Art, it takes an unfortunate death here. Because if you pay attention to your movement, what you're going to notice is sometimes, hey, I've got a higher quick run than I do a glide. Maybe it's faster for me to get from point A to point B with that quick run level, and it's going to make you start thinking about those decisions. And while those are little micro pieces that don't seem like, well, that's only so relevant, isn't it? Over the course of a seed, movement is probably about 10%. Like, movement optimization is probably about 5 to 10% of your time difference in a lot of racer seeds. While you might play somebody who's very skilled in fights like yourself, if you're, or play at your same level, having that little bit of an edge is what's going to give you the wins in some of these like really close seeds. So, but we do see Khaled got everything out of Pride Lands, so we know Pride Lands is dead at this point. Um, a membership card, a beast claw, and a magnet. Oh, it's very interesting to say the least. But and
We
then,
also did find explosion on levels early as well, so we have a very nice combination of tools already.
Negative combo and Agrabah here, identity disc as well. So, also to note, the answer reports do one thing and one thing only, and that's they will hint abilities through the journal. So if you pick up Ansem reports, you can find out where things like, I don't know, your B charge or an EXP boost or your explosion, for example. You'll get hints on some of those particular abilities, and they would show up in your journal. Sometimes people do like the fact that they can do that, and it does play to an advantageous position. Other times it really doesn't help but so much. And so you will have some runners that will very simply not pick them up. Or if you get comfortable with not needing any, like looking for any particular tool set, you'll abandon them at times, which is understandable and reasonable, I think. So, let's talk about a couple other things. There is chest visuals on in this setting, just like settings 2. The big thing is, you notice Khaled is using the chest visuals match content, but he's using the high contrast ones. So they're very, very blatantly obvious. So.
Yep.
So.
And as you kind of saw Khaled moving through the bazaar, even with having Glide 4, he was still kind of choosing to use quick runs. And that's just because we have these lovely enemies in Agrabah that kind of make it a no-fly zone. And also not having an aerial dodge kind of makes it a little awkward, because even with high jump 2, your movement kind of gets a little squandered there since you have no acceleration and all speed. So by the time that you actually start gliding, you've kind of already lost all that height that you just got off your jump.
Yeah, and we're seeing Khaled now using that Glide 4. He's getting to places where he can get height. He's going to go ahead, take advantage of the fact that he has no way of the Dawns to very quickly get sent back to the beginning of the room instead of into Roxas Arena, and then head out.
But yeah, a boob push, as y'all can see through Khaled's end, and we'll see here from Dark's end here in just a moment, awarded you a progression point. So not everything gives you a form of progression. Depending on how you have things set up for the progression, you could legitimately have everything give you progression in some sort, or try to have it more balanced to where select things give you progression points, and also like different values of progression depending on how you deem them to be worth.
And I will say, with these settings, we did make a little bit of alterations. So I think a perfect case in point is Pride Lands. Well, there are a lot of TOs that argue between if getting to Simba and Oasis should give a prog point or not. We decided that we weren't going to give that prog point at Simba. Instead, we were going to go ahead and, instead of only giving you 1 prog point for Hyenas 1, we would give you 2. So we're making little micro adjustments throughout the prog point settings, which you can check exactly how those are set in the the tracker, or not in the tracker, in the seed generator.
In the seed generator
with your sets. So that's something to consider as well. So,
and as we can see here from Khaled's end, the fire is the only thing in Halloween Town. So Halloween Town now has been marked off for having any potential of a proof.
Yep.
And what's going to be kind of nice, right? So as these hints start rolling in, these early blue worlds, especially that fire in Halloween Town, could be massive info for where proofs would be at. So in the case of like the fire, for example, it does connect to Pride Lands, but the issue is Pride Lands is already dead. So depending on what that hints towards, you would automatically know which world potentially has your proof, because it would still be a 50-50 because Agrabah would still be in play because the fire ties to both Agrabah and Hollow Bastion. So you'd have it narrowed down to a 50-50. Blue worlds kind of make things a lot easier to kind of pinpoint where proofs are, because no matter what info is presented there, unless of course it says no path to light, the info contained in there, if it is on a path of any kind aside from no light, one of those situations will fit, if not multiple, depending on how things line up.
Correct. The other thing to note is you're going to notice sometimes, hey, Callit's right now gone into Piglets and has decided to do the mini game right away. So the mini games and stuff in 100 Acre do have prog points associated to them. Callit's doing this because it's going to give him his third prog point and give him his first hit. So that's going to be good information for him. And he's going to very quickly push through this. So we'll have a little bit of intel. You got Dark now pushing into Twilight Town. So you've got different things. There are a few things to note. If you noticed with the layout that we have for this proof tracker, you'll see some interesting pieces of items on the tracker, or on this quote unquote proof tracker. You'll see like light or the thunders hovering over 3 worlds. Those are the 3 worlds that thunders point to. And you see the torn pages up above, and you'll see some of them are above and below. So one thing to note with most of the regular worlds, the world unlocks for those worlds are part of the check set. You can have, because of it, a certain number of checks, that point to both. So the reason that we have, you see the number 5 under the Twilight Town symbol, is because there's 5 important checks that point that way. That includes, all 3 of your ice creams. That's 3 of your 5 checks. And then Valor form and Limit form. STT, because it only has nominee sketches, that is one of the few items that was adjusted when Path was created. So Valor and Limit also point to STT as a potential world. So that is another thing to note. What you'll find is with some of these places that have a lower count, you can actually kill off that location having a proof if there's too many hints, like our first hint of OC having Path of Peace, or not OC, Port Royal having a Path to Peace. If there were so many Path of Peace hits, so let's say there's another one elsewhere that's not on OC, levels would be dead, because the only 2 things that point to levels are Once More and Second Chance. And in Second Chance,
speaking of
speaking of okay, yep, so that's
Dark finding Once More, so Peace cannot be on levels.
Correct.
Because we already have a Peace hint on the board, and as you mentioned, there would be now too many things not in the right places to be able to make Peace work for levels. So we can mark off levels at least for not having Peace. It doesn't mean it can't have con or non. It's still in the running because they're still early, but it's just the small things like that to keep an eye on.
Yeah, so that's one of the things you're going to keep an eye on. The other thing you're going to keep an eye on is, even if a world shows itself as not having the proof there, the fact that you can still get a lot of info because it may point onto a particular path. Oh no, Dark Stream went down. Hopefully he will be back up momentarily. But we'll go ahead and while we're waiting on Dark, we'll go ahead and go back over to just focusing on Khalet's stream here for a moment. Looks like Dark is back up and running though.
Oh, Dark is back up.
Okay. Yep, we are good to go. But you will see that this is one of the things about these settings. So, now, how long do I expect these runners to take on these? We're probably looking at most runners are going to take somewhere between 1 and 2 hours. Went to something else. So there we go. Everything is fixed. I'm readjusting the timers because it was my fault on those, and then because I want to make sure that we get everything in on these timers correctly. So we're going to make sure that you'll be able to see everything throughout the seed. So you just need to give us a moment here to make adjustments, so that when we're all said and done, and yes, this is some of the stuff that we do on the fly at times.
And DC also is dead very early through the shotgun portion. Found a lovely final form there for Khalet, who has not been to TT but is now going, as he has 2 forms now, so he can push the envelope a little bit further here in terms of forms. And if there happens to be anything juicy on final form, that will be kind of a nice little early advantage here for Khalet, since Dark has already exhausted TT1, so he's not going to be able to really push much. And SP also dying with just a Way to the Dawn, so
Yeah.
we're having a lot of worlds dying here in shotguns, which is slightly concerning.
Well, it's good and it's bad. And
So
let's go ahead and talk about that.
Circling back real quick to that, yeah. So
That question.
because the second chance is in TT, and we have found once more, and neither of those were already on the path to peace, and they're in 2 separate locations outside of that piece, levels can't have pieces.
Yeah. So
That is correct.
So in this scenario, yes, that would be correct. Because again, second chance and once more are the 2 things that point to levels. Now the other thing is you may see, yeah, once more was found in OC at the very beginning. So,
Look, a blizzard on Final 3 there for Khalet.
ooh, that's helpful. We do see Dark going through screens and getting some levels here while grinding some form a little bit, and then now just using the form just to blitz through this to get a little bit more stats. So, oh, and welcome with the raid. Thank you all for coming and joining us. So, yeah. And like we said, this is why this hint system is considered one of the hardest ones, but it's definitely something that you do see in this community a bit. And so it's like, okay, well, we need to make sure that anybody who is looking to get through boot camp and, you know, work their way to eventually playing in crit tourneys and stuff like that, or just a lot of tourneys in general, because even tourneys that have an open division, which is played on beginner, will still use these type of settings. So we definitely want our runners to be comfortable. Oh my God, did Dark timeout?
Gosh, Dark. He got it just in time. He just
The
did
all
basically
zeros.
the
Wow.
last possible frame.
Yep. It is the last frame, so
I don't advise
going to last frame like
campers
that.
to do that. Please, please be safe and leave. Start leaving a little bit sooner than that, because there's only so much XP that you can get, and if you're not at a point where you're gonna get into the level, it's not worth potentially timing out.
Yeah, and I've had
Like it's an understanding of knowing, know when to cut your, not necessarily cut your losses, but know when to get the heck out.
Yeah, and I mean, and the thing is I've had a seed where I tried to do exactly what Dark did, and I was on the wrong side of that 0.00. Like, the animation finished, the noise started coming off, but I was 1 frame too late, and so it gave me the death, and I had to redo it. So I lost 2 whole minutes and then some.
So, yeah. So great stat line there, though, coming out of screens. I definitely like the play there from Dark, because of the fact that SP just was dead off rip. May as well take advantage, because we have Magnet, we have Explosion, we have a negative combo. I think we have an XP boost as well.
Well, we got some info here though, because LOD just said that it's pointing to no light. So LOD, OC are both just dead off of that thunder showing up. So the one thing about the Path of No Light hints is anything in that world, anything that those point to, those are dead worlds. So we're getting a lot of info here. We are just about 20 minutes into the seed. So you can see where this is going to be a lot, that needs to be handled.
Yeah, and I like the fact, even for Dark, also seeing that this is a great way to kill off potential worlds, but also it's a great play at the same time of potentially giving yourself access to worlds that might have stuff that you might need later on. Because yes, the world may be dead, but it might still have something of use. And with Stitch being found, HB is also now killed off.
Yep. And that's
a lot of info rolling in.
Yeah, where we are going to get a lot of intel out of this. And you see now, one thing that Dark is going to take advantage of, he has a lot of movement. He's going to push, but he also has a lot of stats. So he's going to be able to push a lot of worlds. Oh, Final Form in...
yeah, that was just in the West Hall. Yep.
So he's going to get those things finally. He's going to be like, okay. But the one thing for Dark compared to Khaled right now is Dark's going to be able to blitz content a little bit heavier because he's got, is going to blitz it a little bit faster because he's got the stats. So you're going to see him push places, to take advantage of that. So.
Yep, and now Dark going through HB1 is going to find absolutely nothing, because Khaled was here earlier on at the start of the seed and had pushed all the way through Bailey, and there was nothing to be had there in HB1. So this is going to get their progression and leave HB1 empty-handed.
Yep.
And as you folks probably can see on Khaled's side there, is taking the liberty of one of the functions of the tracker and is marking off worlds that are dead. I do strongly recommend, if you're trying to give yourself a better way of learning and understanding how you are trying to process your path hints, I strongly suggest marking off on your tracker as you go. So that way, any stuff that you come across for information, you're not getting tangled up because you're seeing that, oh, hey, well, this world isn't marked off. And if you're not at a point where you can kind of cross-reference your information, you can trip yourself up and go down a rabbit hole that you don't necessarily have to go down.
I very much agree with that. And then the other thing you're going to notice is we're going to start seeing a lot of divergence because these two have pretty much finished up their shotguns. They're going to want to chase information. Khaled wants to chase and find out what worlds are completely dead. He can take advantage of LOD to get intel on, a handful of potential worlds. So far, he has intel on the 4, but there are going to be more that he's going to potentially get out of this because just knowing that no light, which is huge. So far, we haven't had any of the hints point toward multiple worlds, so that's another thing as well. So because you could get, we have the reality of, and I'm going to say it now, just to get it out of the boot campers' heads that this can't happen, but it 1,000% can. There is the possibility that all 3 proofs end up in a single world. It is highly unlikely, but it can happen.
This is a scenario that very much can happen.
So that is why I wanted to point it out now, because I don't want the boot campers going in being like, well, they're always going to be in unique worlds. No, that's not always the case. The one thing that you're going to notice
I can tell you from personal experience, I've had a triple proof seed on drives.
I was going to say, and that's one of the big things is the biggest thing about this. It's non-first visit, which means all 100 acres considered non-first visit. Levels and drives are considered non-first visit, and then all your second visits of all your other worlds. STT has an exception to the rule, and that is a couple spots, because we have Data's ASs on. STT could have a proof on Data Roxas, but also the chest after Axel 2 is considered non-first world by the generator. So you can have a situation where STT is being pointed at and it's not Data Roxas. So that is something to keep in mind. Yes, you at the point that you're looking for that, or you have that intel, you should probably expect that it's going to be the Data Roxas, but it is a 50-50 at that point. So that is why we are being very particular about that.
Khaled finishing up there, getting his next hint. Dark is also now getting his next hint, with HB pointing to Non and Peace. And because of us already seeing that Peace is isolated, there's so far, well, actually at this point, there is no world that is doubled up on proofs. Because of that Peace hint that is on its own.
Correct, because you have
Dark, though, did score a skill and crossbones though from AG1, which Khaled is going to come across. So Dark now pushing into PR to start trying to hopefully get information on where Peace is possibly at.
Correct. And then the other thing to know, and I think this is again one of the big things to know, is because we don't have a connections hint, like IBA said, Peace has its own self-contained hint that isn't pointing to Non. We do have 3 unique worlds here. So, and that is something that you may or may not pick up on as a runner. Sometimes just picking up, okay, what worlds are dead, what worlds are alive, is more important than picking up, oh, there could be multiple in the same world, at least early on in a seed. But as you get further in the seed, that little bit of intel is going to be huge for a runner. So, oh, and Dark comes across the membership card because
the number one thing with Path is all the information for any world that is pointing to a proof must match.
Correct.
And if you have and let's say you find a proof early in a second visit that you just were pushing out, A common case is HB and DC going into Timeless River. If you just happen to stumble across a proof, you can use that information of having already found a proof to help you isolate even further of what worlds can't contain a proof.
Correct.
But yeah, that membership card though that Dark did find is a pretty nice find here in terms of he is going to have a lot of that checks just readily available to go check as soon as he decides to go on in there.
So let's talk about HB2, because I think this is one of the important things to note about this setting that is different from the others. In order to prevent the likelihood of HB being double or triple proof, we have turned core back off for these settings. So these settings are, you have Promise Charm, so you don't have to climb the world that never was, unless you're chasing a proof, or intel. There's some interesting info.
So can officially rule levels out now because of the hint that Cowlet just got. We were already able to rule out Non because of the HB hint. But now that Con has shown itself in a separate location, levels is now officially ruled out of contention.
Yep. But as I was going to say, with these settings, core is off, but your ASs and your datas are on. Now, in worlds where you have an AS, you do not have to fight the data version of that AS afterwards. You will only have to fight one version or the other. The other thing to note, and I think this is a piece that a lot of people are going to be happy about, but it is kind of realistic to tournament environments in general, is Terra is off. There are not too many tournaments that play with Terra on, and so we, unlike last time where we had a fourth setting that was ABN and we turned Terra on there, we decided it was in our better interest of giving you the more realistic experience, and Terra is the one boogeyman that will stay off throughout all of boot camp. So, but that is something where if the runners in the future want to get some practice and want to really level up their game, they know that the one thing that they won't have practice throughout these settings is going to be Terra. And then there are quite a few guides and also just people out there willing to help teach the Terra fight, all the various cheeses, the proper loops, things like that. So I think that's a big thing to note. Dark is finishing up here in Agrabah, or not in Agrabah, in PR1. Sent Barbosa up into the sky, and now we're like getting ready to move on.
So as I'm sure chat saw, 100 Acre getting marked off the way that it did. So us finding the cure in PR, the only place that the cure could point to is 100 Acre, because of the fact that HB is already ruled dead and BC is blue, so it can't be there either. The other thing to note, as everyone can see, I did already highlight that Con and Non cannot be in 100 Acre because of the fact that there is no other proof tied to that cure.
Correct.
But Dark is now checking out HB2. Well, there's our torn page, so that does give us an increasing likelihood here of 100 Acre being on the table, because that does still point to the cure. But now, at the same time, we're gonna go ahead and do this real quick for the time being. That torn page also now ties into DC being in play for a proof.
Correct. Now
And similar to what I did with 100 Acre, because we know that the cure is hinting so far to 100 Acre, that torn page cannot double up for DC because we already know that there's not a double up on any of the proofs.
All right. So one thing to note, we have quite a bit of info so far, but these runners are staying pretty even when it comes to proc points right now. Dark just getting a little bit of master leveling before going down into the fight with the dancers here. Notice Dark took a moment to dive over toward the alcove, knowing he can't get in there, but he can look and see what chests are in there. So if it's just 2 junk chests, he can skip having to come back up here if he wants to go directly into Demix, which is exactly what he's doing. So, that is something that a lot of runners do forget that is available, like information that's available. Yes, you have to be looking out for it, but it is something that is very helpful when it comes to running these type of settings.
So here's some interesting information that we just came across from Callet and that we're going to come across for Dark here momentarily. Levels has just been hinted for peace. The issue is the only thing we have on levels so far is the scimitar. We do have a separate isolation here in World That Never Was, though, with a non-hint. So we have some interesting pieces lining up here. I'm gonna have to look at Dark's tracker here to kind of
confirm a couple things.
Yeah, no, we're still good on that front. Okay.
So, I do want to point out one thing. IVA, and I think it's we probably should question mark piece still on DCTR. And the reason that you want to still do that is because we don't have full information, and it might not be the cure that's pointing to 100 Acre that we're getting that piece info out of PR. It might be
I guess that's fair.
It's not the highest of likelihood, but it is something that is possible. So I think that's a big thing. And let's look at what else we have here when it comes to intel that we have as we go through this. Because so far we have one magnet between the 2 runners in the same spot. They both have 1 world of excess. Yes, and Geek is correct. Technically, the World That Never Was could have peace as well. So, and hello, Geek. Welcome in. But yes, we definitely have some places that things could still be, and I think that's the truth.
So,
because technically, the Way of the Dawn.
I need to look.
The Way of the Dawn could be in HB could point to.
Yeah. Because
could point to peace.
I'm seeing it right now between levels and PR. Yeah.
Yep. So, but Dark's hit. Dark's hit's huge.
See, I'm foreshadowing of being right on the money. That's all.
No. But the thing is this sometimes you can get those ideas and go accordingly. But yes, we are looking
but
at
I will
that.
say though, with Dark's stuff here though, HB being fully finished off, we now have definitive answer. Well, not like for sure answers here, but we do have 3 worlds narrowed down for Non and Peace at this point. Because of the fact that it's blue, we have a Weight of the Dawn and the 2 torn pages. So Peace is very much alive between DC and 100 Acre, and then Non is still in play for the time being with DC, and then same for More Than Ever Was.
And unfortunately, Dark did miss the balloons. He's gonna have a really slow balloon time on this, a 42. But I mean, it sometimes happens. We do have an ice cream showing up in 100 Acre, so that is a thing to keep an eye out on. As you stated, with the info that we have in Hollow Bastion, drives, STT, TT, and PR cannot have the Peace or Non at this point. So we are looking at very little information, or we've got a lot of information so far out of these trackers. Granted, you also have to think about this. This is information that we as a and this proof of connection was TT2 on the limit form check. So we have confirmation on that one now. But it is something to note.
Yeah, so now that's actually kind of good info to have, because now you can, much as what we had discussed earlier, you can now reverse engineer your hints to really narrow down where your other proofs are.
Yeah.
Which I just need to double check here. Yes, okay.
So we now have three places that this could potentially be. Oh, a magnet.
And
That's it.
That magnet just came in from both Palette and Dark. That officially, and also in case we wanted to confirm this a little bit harder, the hint that just came in for Dark with SP confirms the World That Never Was will in fact have your proof of non-existence.
Yep. So now something to note.
And now the fun part. We get to play the fun game of what's going to happen here with DC and 100 Acre, because OC, we're kind of keeping a slight watch out right now. But also PR is also something to still kind of keep an eye out for.
Yep. And we are getting a little
because we have Wisdom form in OC, but we unfortunately have a Keter in PR, so we're gonna be kind of waiting to see what happens when the reflects get hinted. The unfortunate problem here with Agrabah getting hinted, you have both a reflect and a Keter there, so it's not gonna really help you much. So the big money item that we're waiting to see get hinted is BC. Or we just happen to find something else that kind of really narrows that down for us. But
so I do want to point out here, Dark is ahead by a whole set of prog points, because of his earlier push in HB2. So he has a lot of intel that Khaled currently doesn't have. So we're about to see how deep this rabbit hole really goes. Now remember, these proofs are a non-first visit, so up through Psyx we won't see the proof. But that means it could be anywhere on the way to Zem 1, or it could be on Data. So you're looking at about a 50-50 chance of it being Zem 1 or the Data, or a little bit over 50-50 that it's them and not the route. So this is gonna probably become a full world that never was climb here.
So I have breaking news. I've had a chance to like fully analyze this. I know where the last proof is, but I'm not gonna say anything on it yet.
Well, you know what? Let's ask chat. Chat want to give info on where they believe this last proof is? Because I think I already know the answer to this too.
Yeah, I had a chance to kind of fully analyze Dark's tracker and what we know all together.
Well, because ooh.
Yes, if chat would like to weigh in on what they think, I would be curious to see.
No, I know the answer. I figured out the answer here. We want you to actually do the deduction here and not just make an assumption of a cause why not scenario here. Because this is definitely something that you will want to understand when it comes to these settings.
This is something that I will say. This is something that is a little bit on a deeper level of thinking that you have to take into account for a number of things, which also goes back to a conversation of seeing how many items you potentially have left to make a hint work towards that proof.
And we've got both runners finishing Luxord here about the same time. Dark does end up with getting the DM, but Khaled was able to DM skip. So Dark's gonna try to get a little bit more out of his, drives and stuff like that, try to get levels. Moko, we'll probably find that out at some point in the seed, but not guaranteed.
I think the more likelihood of us finding out what's on levels is, well, no, I think I can't really. For some reason,
I would tell you this. I would say
so,
with
having a hard time.
I would say with these runners, I don't know that we're gonna get. I think we could get some level 1 datas, like stat wise, out of them if they feel like making that blitz instead of just doing the climb. Agrabah gives us more intel that we are already kind of...
Chicken, no chicken, chicken, no chicken, chicken, no chicken, 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 no chicken, no chicken, chicken, no chicken, 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 no chicken, no chicken, chicken, no chicken, chicken, no chicken, chicken, no chicken. No chicken, chicken, no chicken, chicken, no chicken, chicken, chicken.
All right. Nope, still dropping frames. All right. Let's see if I get back here.
Alright, so we are back, hopefully.
Looks like we're trying to get back, but we're still dropping frames. Give me a second just to completely... Yeah, I'm gonna just restart my router IBA.
Okay.
Actually, no, looks like we're good now. We're coming back to life. All right, never mind then. So we are back to life.
Okay.
Sorry about that, everybody. Internet was kind of crapping out there for a few minutes here. And we are back. So as IBA posted, the one thing that we had to note was, hello, our name is, we have way too much info that says we are going to be playing, hold on, I think my internet is crapping out again. Okay. Give us just a couple minutes and we will be back. I apologize, ladies and gentlemen, but I do definitely want to restart my router to make sure that that's not the issue going forward.
Chicken, no chicken, chicken, no chicken, chicken, no chicken, 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 no chicken, no chicken, chicken, no chicken, 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 no chicken, no chicken, chicken, no chicken, chicken, no chicken, chicken, no chicken, no chicken, chicken, no chicken, chicken, no chicken, chicken, chicken.
Alrighty, ladies and gentlemen, I am gonna go ahead and try to see if we got everything good and going here now that I've restarted my router. It's kind of unfortunate timing on all that. But we do have a lot going on here at this point in the seed. Thank you for the welcome back here. But as you all can see, the big thing that's being chased at this point, we know that the world that never was, that's DataZem that's going to have that proof. Just because we've checked everything else in the world. And then, Dark finds the Royal Summons on level 41. So, I think we now have info on what we got to do. Khaled's pushing the mouse right now. Dark's about to go in and go through all of DCTR. So, Khaled's pretty much going to be in go mode here once he figures out what he needs. He also knows that it's on first visit, so he's not going to check things during the first visit in order to speed through this a little bit faster. So, and I know IBA has stepped away for a moment. Welcome back, IBA.
I'm back.
All right. And I just want to make sure you're seeing everything properly on your side here. It looks like everything.
What's interesting? Where was that torn page found in STT? I'm just curious because I think I missed that part.
I missed it as well. It looks like before Struggle Fight or before the end of Struggle Fights, or it was on the Struggle Fight bonus, one of the two. The Royal Summons on levels though was level 41.
Okay.
So.
Okay.
So we have a lot going on here.
So.
Again, I thank everybody for dealing with our little technical difficulties here. This is part of the reason we wanted to do these, introduce the settings. Last year I had a lot of issues with streaming altogether. And I've been doing a lot better with streaming overall. So that's why we're looking at using these to kind of test, make sure my streaming capabilities would be good. And the other TOs wouldn't have to bear the grunt of all the work. So It's just unfortunate that my timing with my ISP being like, yeah, you need to restart your router, happened while we were going through the stream here, because it looks like everything seems to be fine right now, and let's just hope that it maintains, because there were points where it looked like from my end I wasn't really dropping frames at all, but we just want to make sure that that's all taken care of while we're also, you know, giving you guys as much info and educating everybody on these settings and letting them see like a race of it. So but back into what we have here. I think Khalet's gonna get all this news, like this news hitting him hard here, you know, shortly, that HB does not have the other royal summons. So
Well, the issue is, right,
we already know it's
Look-
Data Zem guaranteed.
yeah.
So
The issue that I think you are probably seeing is, because again, kind of how when I had looked at Dark's tracker fully to kind of pinpoint for peace, the issue here is getting to peace itself for Khalet. There are still double up stuff, while Dark, on the other hand, only had singular items to make that overall work at that point.
that was part of it. The other big thing is that because Dark didn't have this double torn page in Hollow Bastion, or Dark had the double torn page while Khalet has not seen the second torn page yet. Khalet doesn't know that 100 Acre is most likely dead, which is why he's probably still chasing on the potential of it.
No, they have full information. BC tells you, like, straight to your face.
That's true. BC does tell you that, doesn't it? Oh, yeah. So then, at this point, though, Khalet also doesn't know that this world doesn't have the royal summons. So, I mean, this to Khalet is a dive into all these hints for peace, looking for royal summons.
And I will say I do still like this, because it is a chance for Khalet to get XP, because levels is unfulfilled and so are drives, and also because of PR, that too is also fulfilled.
Moko's saying he invoking levels. He did ask the levels question very early on, and I said I wasn't gonna look, and we would figure it out along the way. So
Yeah. So we can confirm, though, that peace is on Marley, because Dark is through PR, and all that is left is Marley. So it will only be on the AS, because AS data split is off. So if the peace hint were to be actually on the data fight, Dark will also receive that check once he completes the AS fight.
correct. And to answer Flo's question, yes, it was on 41. Okay, we are having a little bit of buffering stuff on my end still.
And Khalet doing a quick little thing here to check drives. Unfortunately, getting hit here now that summons is in fact not here. It's probably gonna dive, most likely back in the world that never was. He might dive OC, but at this point, the only way that OC could still work, because again, for Khalet, there's still that possibility.
Yeah. Okay, hold on 1 second. Let me check something real quick. Everything here. Turn back on. Right, the settings. Gotta check something with dark stream here real quick.
Say, because it is hard stuck.
Yeah. Reloading the stream, yep, and he just finished. Okay.
And from the looks of it, the proof was on the on the get bonus pop up and not the pop ups after.
Correct.
Oh, and Khaled is running. That's right.
Oh.
The cursed Cerberus.
What? Callie, why? We talked about this before. This is the one of the most cursed things ever. We always talked about Pluto being a good boy. It's cursed. Yeah. Now, let's go ahead. We know that Khaled's going to be chasing here for a little bit. Let's go ahead and actually look over here at Dark running final or Data Zem, because Dark is doing this with level 1 stats. He has second chance and once more, and he has, you know, elixirs and limit form and everything else. But this is a very difficult fight to go through.
Yep. And especially because
they only have they have 8 drive. And
they do have Trinity limit as well to get some extra free damage in.
Yeah.
So it is a plus. And hey, we did find out that OC also contained a reflect, which is all unfortunate there for Khaled.
Yeah.
And now Khaled diving into PR, still searching.
Yep. So we're gonna.
And these are just his quickest potential looks, because he has all his forms that he has access to up to 6, and he has a healthy amount of health there. So even if he had auto valor and there was something on valor form, still kind of in a interesting spot here.
Yeah.
But Dark is about to be done with the fight. You don't have to take Data Zem's first part all the way down to kill. You just have to get down to a certain health threshold and he'll enter the building. So if you don't have good stats to just chunk on through, getting down to survive at least till he does the kneel to trigger the building RC again, it's well worth doing because it just ends the fight basically.
Yep. Now Dark on to Data Finals. So we're gonna see Final Zem twice in these seeds, because he's got to deal with Data Final here, and then still has to fight regular Final because of the way that we've got the settings and the rules for these for timings on this event. So
yeah, and getting a dance, kind of. I wasn't honestly expecting a dance there.
I wasn't expecting it that early.
Because he had done vines, which, at least for me, I haven't seen him go into a dance after that. But hey, it can happen. But Dark is gonna be actively trying to trigger the dance from here on out, since you can manipulate your way to get Final Zem to cooperate and give you the dance to just do some good damage here.
Yeah, especially since, let's talk about the fact that Dark is still at level 1 stats. Oh, you know what? We're gonna go cut back over to Khaled here for a second, because look where Khaled's at.
Oh. Oh no.
Because he's run into the unique problem of he
I don't
has
know.
to,
I wonder if he missed the cure from being hinted in BC. On top of the reflect, unless he's just here at this point now just because.
No, he's looking potentially for Valor form.
It's valid. It is definitely a stretch, and if Valor form is just here in 100 Acre, then that would be.
And he has all
certainly something.
And he has all 5 pages, so we're gonna go ahead and go back to both runners here. As we go into Khaled yeeting the bear while we see this very nice series of plays from Dark on Data Final Sam. Reflects the Sparrow Heart, gets grabbed, going back into the dance. And Valor was on Yeet the Bear. Dark's got to be careful though. He is low on health here. He can very easily die still.
Yeah, especially if it happened to get caught by Sparrow Heart before Riku would have healed him. Yeah, Dark very much
gets through
very nicely here.
Yep, knowing that he had a little time to get a full aerial combo in between the reactions of Trinity was kind of huge for him. Now he's going to be on to final fights here, and while he's doing that, let's go ahead and go back to Khaled here. Let's see how he goes.
Yeah, because Khaled is also leveling up his forms here, and of course is getting XP. It's just decided I'm gonna go ahead and go back in and out, and Dark Stream has gone down again a moment.
Yep. That's why I wanted to double check, but yep. Dark is in final fights currently. So.
But yeah, now Khaled's just straight up doing actual leveling because forms died immediately. Going to find that Royal Summons here.
Yep, he gets it now, and now he's going to get out of here. Khaled does unfortunately have Datazem and Marley to deal with after getting through TR. So I just don't believe that he's got enough time at all to catch Dark here. But let's go ahead and we'll go back to our split screen here again so that everybody can see what's going on. Now let's go ahead and ask while we're looking into it, how much did this stream and the information kind of help with understanding a little bit more about Pathins? I'm asking especially those who are, you know, not as comfortable with that information.
Because what we're hoping with, especially this special layout here, is being able to kind of see the information in a different light than strictly attached to the tracker.
Well, we've got Dark cruising into the tail end of AX2 here. Getting into the second set of buildings here. Now, IBA and I both know that these two, while they are racing, they are in a call together, having silly banter. Which, for the showcase, we told them, you know, that's fine. When it comes to your races, obviously, for tourney, you wouldn't be doing that type of stuff. But I think we're gonna see both these runners, you know, do a lot of stuff here. And I think they've done a great job of showing off, you know, how these hit systems really work and just how quickly you can actually push through a lot of the content based on progression points that are in the seeds. I mean, we can look at these trackers and see Khaled is sitting right now on 74 prog points, and Dark's going to end the seed on 71. So, like, you got a lot of there was a lot of progress pushed, in part for the data or for the info, in part because we had a data and an AS that were giving us points afterwards. And Dark very beautifully getting the kill with an explosion there. So combo master
for Dark.
Yep, combo master explosion tactics with reflect, and he was sitting on the Trinity ready in case the explosion wasn't enough, and he could hit it before iframes fell. So now I got Khaled.
Yeah, and the other thing, at least for Khaled's side here, Khaled does have a lot more put into progression for forms.
Yep.
Not by much, but still enough to kind of have some extra little points there sprinkled in.
Yep.
And now, from the looks of it, while Khaled's finishing up, Dark's gonna kill some time here.
Yep. Again, they're in call together, so I think there's going to be some banter. I think Dark's going to want to go see like what full information he can get without pulling up a spoiler log, because there's still, you know, checks in, TT, stuff like that, and Khaled is already in his go mode at this point, so.
That is correct, Flo.
Yeah. Khaled did nearly ABN the seed. But Khaled pushed a lot deeper for things just because the order of... Because that's another important thing. The order of information you get is crucial to what you can and can't do. And in the case of Khaled, there was the unfortunate reality that he had... there was a certain piece of information he didn't have that Dark did, and those particular pieces of info really opened the door very quickly for Dark to kind of get full info a little bit sooner. So
yeah, unfortunately the idiots are dead. For Khaled here, they couldn't go back into final form, taking a DM here from Marley. Marley definitely could be a pain in the butt, as we had talked about back during the Super Bosch showcase. Just because this can be a little bit harder to kind of grasp, of like when AS Marley likes to retaliate and how he acts and everything else. Khaled should be able to get the kill from here. Nope, gonna eat another DM. That's all right. gonna get through this one more time. It's gonna reflect out the scythe here. If you have good movement, you can actually outrun the scythe.
Which
Or if you want to be super haha funny, you could pull Stitch out and Stitch will deflect the scythe.
yeah, but at the same time, I think Khaled was going for damage here, which made perfect sense.
Oh, 100%.
He knew he could take a hit or two here and there, because a lot of people would just glide out the DM in order to prevent taking the damage. So
Yep. Yeah, because if you do goof, you're gonna eat up a lot of your hit count, and then on top of that, once Marley finishes DMing, you're then out of position for the after effects, and then Marley's just roaming free.
yeah, exactly. Yep, and let's go ahead and just show what Dark is doing. Dark's trying to find where that info is, or what's in TT3. And so far,
Yeah, 'cause TT3 is still not done.
yeah, and he's on Betwixt, so it's either here or it's Data Axle.
And we know that there's only, well, actually, it's either a fire or a genie, because those are the only two things that we don't know about.
Yeah.
And it's genie. So we know where the fire is now based off of that information.
Yep.
That fire is in fact, well, I can't necessarily say in DC. It most likely is DC, though, because they both.
Yep. Dark is going
pick
back.
up everything.
Dark is going.
Picked up,
Dark's going back now.
and
to
Cal
confirm
only
it.
picked up. Yeah, and Cal only picked up Battlefields of War. So, and I missed, unfortunately, when they went through DC, because it was just, at least for Dark, there was no reason to go looking. Yep, there's that Battlefields, and it's okay. So it's done there. So LOD is where the last item in the seat is.
Yeah, it's in LOD too. We know that because Khaled went all the way to Sean Yu. So.
Yep.
And I'll confirm where it's
So
exactly.
I guess the fun. Yeah, I was gonna say. I guess while we wait here, we could find out where this fun little fire is, because the fun part is it could be very well on Data Zigbar.
Nah, it's not. I just went and looked at the. I'll go ahead and spoil it because I know Dark's looking for his own purposes. That's why he went back. But that fire is in Throne Room, so yeah, that was going to be interesting to say the least.
Mhm.
So, as you can see, this scene was relatively fast from these two runners. Now, would I expect everybody in the community to be able to run at this type of pacing? No, I don't, and it's not fair to expect that. But at the same time, we did bring out two of the better runners in the entire community that are on RTO staff to really show off the optimizations that you can potentially have. They knew they were playing on beginner, everything else. So a lot of their decisions were made based on what they felt that comfortable being able to do. That's why I don't believe that everybody would do level 1 data final Zem and data Zem. They would probably want some stats for that because those, as you can see, are very long fights. But let's go ahead and let's give Cal at least the respect of seeing this this data. So, because he is.
There will come times, of course, that the stats just aren't there, and you are just going to have to bite the bullet and give it a go.
Yeah, and we're seeing that happen with these two runners on the seed.
And again, even though this is beginner, it is a data fight. Khaled doesn't have a lot of defense or health, so just keep that in mind when doing data, is that unless you are super beefy with health and defense, just be extra careful and try to pick up on what the supers are trying to do and learn those patterns. And as you see Khaled here looping Data Finals M back into another dance here.
Yeah. Oh, and he had the session there at the end, because if he doesn't, he gets caught mid combo into a spare heart. So I do like the quick adjustment on the fly that Khaled makes there. He's gonna get another dance. That's what he wants. Again, when you have low stats, because the dance is the same regardless of it's Zem or Final Zem or Data Final Zem when it comes to his actual like movement cadence. So if you can get free damage off a reflex, it's much more preferred when you don't have the stats to like just charge right through him.
And yeah, Khaled is approaching the end here.
Oh, that's beautiful. Using
That was
Berserk
really
Charge,
good. That
Berserk Charge, using the form explosion so he can land and get the strike rate for the kill. That is very, very high-tech gameplay. So
Yeah, very, very risky.
yes, that too.
But
It was either that. It was either
get
that.
the job done.
Yeah, I would say it's either that or Dome at that point, though, where he was at. So I
So
did
when
like
he
the play.
started doing the Berserk attack, he did still have a little bit of wiggle room because Data Finals M, the health threshold for Dome is lower than Story's end.
Yep. He didn't have much though. So,
Yeah, he didn't have much wiggle room, but he made it work.
well, he didn't have much wiggle room, and then on top of it, Riku was going in for an attack. So I think he made the conscious decision based on the fact that Riku could very easily have pushed him into Dome there as well. So, but again, we do appreciate everybody coming out so far today. As you can see, we're just finishing up these last final fights here for Khaled. We're gonna give the same respect to our TOs running the seed that want to run it to completion as we would to any of our runners. You come out to run a seed and play in this event. We're gonna give you the respect of if you want to run the full seed, and we don't have anything that's time restricting us. We will definitely proceed to stream the entirety of your run. If we have follow-up races, we may cut from the current race and start preparing for the next one, even while you're still doing final fights, or whatever content you're still doing. But we do appreciate when our runners are, understanding, and we want to give them the respect of they're putting on a show for the audience, while playing in these events in order to, put their best foot forward in rando and play and run it in tourneys. So.
Just a friendly reminder, we are basically a week away now from everything being in full stride.
Yep. Let's also a bigger reminder, I think, is if you need an async, please reach out to myself or any of my TO team with dates and times that you can run it on, ideally Thursday or Friday of next week. If you cannot make those or a qualifier work, please message us immediately in DMs, and we'll
find a way to make it work.
We'll find a way to get you an async. We have our preferential our time frame because we're trying to make sure that we're not going to burn out everybody, and we don't want too much time for public information on this, or where public information could leak out about the seeds, because when we are running an async, you're running the async against the same seed that they're going to be playing in the live qual. So I see what Khaled's trying to. I see what Khaled's trying to do. He's trying to see if he can ABN the seed before Khaled, or Dark's trying to see if he can ABN the seed before Khaled finishes. Because he's pushing out. I'm seeing he's pushing LOD here, but I'm looking at his tracker from another POV, and he's only got the fire that's in throne room, and he's got the reflect that's on drives left. So
yeah, unfortunately, he still has to get back through LOD, LOD2, and Khaled doesn't have much longer here.
Nope, and Khaled
before he finishes.
Oh, Khaled's gonna go for he's gonna go for the limit finish here. I don't think he's got quite enough in
he's
it.
Not gonna be able to get that.
Oh,
and oh my gosh, he is right on the cusp of Dome.
I give Khaled a lot of credit for pushing that to the very edge there.
He should be fine here. And didn't get the reflect damage, but that's fine. Khaled is going to be GGing right now.
Yep. So GG's to both our TOs for running the seed today. Funny enough, Dark had just finished Shan Yu. So, yeah, we get to see everything. But we want to thank Khaled and Dark for being willing to run during this exhibition, so we could kind of explain very early on what the settings were, and then IBA and I could do a little bit of commentary over the seeds so that people understood the path, all the path stuff that we can go through and things to be looking out for, because that is very important when it comes to these seeds. So, but I do think on that note, Khaled's gonna go play in Atlantica because they know I'm still streaming right now. So Khaled's gonna go toy around in Atlantica a little bit. I think until Dark's done. We'll go ahead and we'll let Dark get to throne room while we kind of sign off here. So IBA, how much are you looking forward to all this starting here in just over a week?
Oh, I'm extremely excited. I've been seeing a lot of pings here the last several days and over the course of the last couple weeks. Seeing a good number of folks practicing, whether it's mostly just event one, just to be prepped for that one coming up, or kind of getting some work done on the other two events just to kind of get their feet wet and kind of get a feel for the settings and everything. So really excited to see what everybody brings, and looking forward especially to seeing the overall growth throughout boot camp, because that is the whole point of this. It is, yes, a beginner style like tourney, but it is also at the same time an opportunity for growth.
Yeah. Oh, and welcome, Callet and Dark. Yes.
Oh, hey! How's it going?
We see that Dark ABN the seed, and we see that Callet is now gone into Atlantica after having to go through the shenanigans he did on nearly ABNing.
So, I want to know the live reaction to the screens. How was it?
We were having to remind people of don't cut it that close. Because you were literally like frame perfect on that. You could not have been.
I was frame perfect, baby.
So, how did y'all feel about my bullshit Data's final Xemnas Dome skip?
Yeah, you got away with so much on that. I was like, oh yeah, he has a little bit of wiggle room to kind of just wailing away, surfing in the pop uniform. I was like, surely he's getting domed, right? And then he just killed him with strike rate. I was like, okay, well, all right. I just threw my hands up, basically, like, all right, whatever.
I couldn't help but start laughing that moment, like.
Yeah.
Because even I know that's straight up bullshit.
So
interesting seed.
Yes, it was very much. We do appreciate you guys going through it and allowing us to do our little bit over here. I had a little bit of technical difficulties with my ISP, like dropping frames here and there. Restarted the router about midway through the seed, and we've been fine since. So.
Nice.
But I also noticed, Dark, you had a couple times where you dropped dropped your stream
Okay,
there.
so listen, everybody know, if you've been around me, my stream or anything like that at this point, you know that this is gonna happen on occasion. I don't because it's exclusively with OBS. Everything else stays fine, but OBS is like, no, I don't have internet anymore. Oh wait, I have internet again. I'm like, all right, whatever.
Yeah.
It's so dumb.
Yep.
But yeah, do we know where Hori Slash was?
You know what? I'll pull it up because I had pulled this up and was like, I want to see the comedy of this entire seed, and figured I was going to give you all a chance to look at the comedy.
Oh yeah, I wanted to ABN it for the fun of it, so.
Central Computer Core Cosmic Arts check. Was Hori.
So you're saying MCP?
Just before him, yep.
Oh.
Yeah,
Oh, and Flare Force being on GR2. That's
Yeah.
dumb. Okay, cool. Sick game. 6 seed.
Yeah.
Uki, if you could go ahead and transition the screen.
Yeah, seeing that now. So we're gonna go ahead and we're gonna thank everybody for coming out tonight. But yeah, we definitely had a good, fun seed to run here. We had 2 great runners come out and put on a show for us, and I think we're just like I said, we're just a week away from our first live qual. And as I said, please reach out. We will schedule asyncs as soon as we can. I've already got I think I've got 1 or 2 requests already in for asyncs. So we will definitely be starting to reach out to everybody in the next day or so that has already put in a request. And we're hope to see everybody next Saturday for our big go mode of let's start with event 1. Just a reminder though, we are doing this with a charity component. We do plan to do some fun incentives. If you all would love to help us out with donating to the American Heart Association. I know when I dropped my stream, we lost the link because I had it pinned until the stream ended. So that's going to be kind of unfortunate. But we will make sure that that's up for all the events, and hopefully we will get some push on that, because I definitely would like to help out the American Heart Association in any way possible, especially with the type of research they do toward, you know, all the various heart diseases and stuff like that. So we will catch everybody on the flip side, see y'all next Saturday for the live qual. For Dark, Khaled, and IBA, this is Zuki signing off. Have a good one, all.
See you guys.
Chicken! Chicken!
Send it.